right, so for writing today, it says that Kimberly School parking lot has 1,170 spaces to hold cars. The lot is divided into 30 equal rows. I want to know how many cars can be parked in each row. So if you're looking here and you have to divide these spaces into 30 equal rows, you first want to rewrite your problem with 1,170 as your dividend and 30 as your divisor. So you're going to say first, rewrite, and before we start typing, let's actually set up our problem. That was my fault. 1, 7, 0, and 30 on the outside. Okay, so now we first rewrite the problem with 1,170 as your dividend and 30 as your divisor. Ask yourself the question, how many times does 30 go into 1? How many times does 30 go into 1? How many times does 30 go into 1? Once you've answered that, well, I know 30 cannot go into 1, so it would be 0. So then you have to multiply 30 times 0 and get 0. So I put my 0 below the 1, and then I find the difference. So I subtract. Okay, and I get 1. So then I multiply 30 and 0 to get 0. Then you will find the difference between 1 and 0, which is 0. Okay, so next you're going to bring down the 1. Bring down that 1. And then you're going to ask yourself, how many times can 30 go into 11? Well, 30 is bigger than 11, so it's still 0. So I have to do 0. Then I ask myself, how many times does 30 go into 11? So it is 0. So I say, next, bring down the next digit, which is a 1, and ask yourself, how many times can 30 go into 11? Now multiply 30 and 0 to get 0, and then subtract to get 11. Okay? So it is 0. So you would subtract, like we just said to do. And I'm subtracting. And I would have 1 minus 0 is 1. And you'll have enough 1s. I'll have enough 1s and 0s for you, which is 11. And then you have to bring down the 7. So I bring down my 7. So I have to ask myself, how many times can 30 go into 117? So I gotta sit here and you're going to have to trial and error this out, okay? You're going to have to see how many times you can get or get close to 117. So I like to list my multiples of 30. So I do 30 times 1, and I'm going to make this inside. I'm going to make it white. So you can see 30 times 1, that equals 30. 30 times 2, well, that would be like 30 plus 30, which is 60. 30 times 3 is like saying 30 plus 30, which was 60, plus another 30 is 90. And then 30 times 4 equals, that's like saying 30 plus 30, which is 60, plus another 30 is 90, plus another 30 is 120, which 120 is way too big. Well, not quite too big, but it's too big for 117. So I have to pick 3. It has to be 3. So how many times does 30 go into 117? It goes into it 3 times. So after, well, and then that equals 90. So you put your 90. And then you'll have a 0. And then you're going to subtract. And again, you're going to want to have to go off the page. And if you do, that's fine. You can go off the page. I'll still be able to see it. So 70 minus 0 is 7. 9 minus 1 I can't do. So the 1 becomes a 0. And my 1 here becomes an 11. And 11 minus 9, 11 minus 9, 9, 10, 11 is 2. So now, since I did that, I got 11 as my answer. So after, bring down the next digit, which is a 7, and ask yourself, how many times does 30 go into 117? Multiply 30 and 3 to get 90 and subtract it from 117 and get the difference of 27. So then you still have a 0, so you have to bring down that 0. So you bring down that 0, and you have to see 30 times what gets me, or it gets me at least close to 270. Well, let's continue listing our multiples. 30 times 5 equals 150. 30 times 6 equals 180. 30 times 7 equals 210. Well, we're getting close. Hopefully we get there. 30 times 8 equals 240. 30 times 9 equals 270. Whoop, oh, I'm stopping there because 30 times 9 gives me 270. So finally, I have to bring down the 0 and ask myself, or ask yourself, how many times does 30 go into 270? Then you multiply 30 and 9 to get 270. There are no other digits or remainders, so the final value is 39 cars can park in each row. Okay? So that right there, yes, I am aware that it is a lot of explaining. However, the more detailed you are in your writing, the better off that you are with understanding how to divide. You guys did a good job and are slowly understanding multiplication, and that helped because we were writing it out. All right? So let's keep doing it and let's keep going strong with our math.